Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 7 of the Immigrants Live podcast, where we share stories of people who left their country to chase a better life. This week, we have two guests, Kate and Reggie, a couple who lives in China. Kate is originally from Russia, and Reggie from Seychelles, the paradise islands in the middle of the Indian Ocean. They've been living in China for the last 9 years, and they love it. In the next 2 episodes, we will cover the stories, why they decide to move to China, and how they manage to stay. But also, because China has such a different culture, Kate and Reggie will share how it's like to live in China and how the country is using technology right now to fight the COVID, something that only China can put in place. This episode was recorded on June 25th. And without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Kate and Reggie. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
How are you guys doing?
Fine.
Doing great. Yeah.
A little bit tired, but fine.
Yeah.
Sweet. It's morning there in China, right?
Yeah.
Well, past 11 a.m. I don't know how morning is that.
Oh, it's late morning.
Yeah. Late morning. No, we've been up since 5 a.m. That's why.
Yeah. Feel like it was a long day, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So why did you guys wake up so early? It's just normal or just today?
No, for our morning shift in the gym, the first class starts at 7:15 a.m. So you have to wake up and we have to be there like half an hour before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we got our job done for today. Well, still in the evening, but yeah. Most of the time it's nice to finish your job early. Like we pass before midday, so you have all day in front of you.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Yeah. Okay. Let's jump straight into the first question. You guys said you work in the gym. What do you guys exactly do?
Well, my main job is as a basketball coach. I work with the Chinese kids from age of 5 to 15, 16. But I also do some little part-time in the gym. But the main gym, like for now, the basketball with all the situation right now is not happening. So it's a group classes and plus it's kids, so it's really difficult right now. But yeah, and then gym it was mainly kid, but now we're kind of doing it together.
Yeah. So gym is the functional training. Just group workouts, and we just get open like 3 weeks ago, and fingers crossed it's not gonna close down with this second wave that is coming. But yeah, functional training, group training is the Australian franchise.
Yeah.
F45. I don't know if you heard, but yeah. Anyway, it's fun.
And what's functional training? Can you explain me a little bit better what's functional training
well,
is?
Originally, functional training was created for like athletes, different kind of sportsmen. If you're a basketball player, I'll create a functional workout for you to get better in basketball. If you're a runner, I'll create a functional workout for you to get better in running. It depends on what kind of running you do. But now the past few years it's been very popular for like normal people, like regular people like you and me. So it's all about balance, and that's why it's called functional, because you train your functional abilities for you. Like I always give that easy example. For example, like you are somewhere in the winter and then it's slippery, and then if your core is weak and then you don't have any workout background, you will slip and probably fall down, and then it's going to be ouch. But if you like strong, your balance is strong, your core is strong, and then you can slip and then not fall, or just fall in a way that you will not hurt yourself. Or like carrying the grocery bags from the grocery store, which is heavy, and then you can do that because you're strong enough to do that, and stuff like that. So it's mainly core and balance and agility, everything. It's pretty much your whole body that you have to train for you to stay healthy, to lead a healthy lifestyle and be strong during the life. Not like an athlete, but just regular life.
So you guys you said there were like a second wave there in China. How's that going? Is that gonna affecting you or?
Well, it's actually this time it started in Beijing because we are based in Beijing. The first one was started in Wuhan, and the idea was like, if I'm not from Wuhan, so I'm kind of safe, right? but now it's in Beijing. So now the whole country is like, if you are from Beijing, we're not really gonna
let you in.
They let you in. If you come in, we're gonna quarantine you and stuff like that. But honestly, they put it under control like really, really fast. Like, because they've been protecting the capital city since day one. Like, Beijing been really strict. Same as Wuhan, when it was like the level of emergency and precaution was the same, just because the capital city is Beijing, right? So now it happened. It started, the second wave, like they call it, started in Beijing, but they react really, really fast, and I feel like they got it under control.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive because, but I mean, it is hardcore. The way they do things is just like it happened. So there are levels of risk, like emergency. The risk of infection, like 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So when it just started, it's 1, the first level, then second level, then third level is when everything's kind of already back to kind of normal, but not normal yet. So we just went to level 3, Beijing, maybe like right before this happened, a week before.
Yeah.
And then this thing, the outbreak somewhere in the market, whatever. The next day, they moved everything back to level 2. So we have here in China, it's very popular. I don't know how it is in Canada or other countries. In Russia, we don't have that. They have like communities, living communities, and it's like surrounded usually by fence. There is a main entrance, so you get in, and then there's security guys and stuff. So usually it's open. You just everybody come in, get out. Nobody gives nobody cares. But now, since the lockdown happened everywhere with the security, you have to register. Then they just close down. If you don't live in this community, you cannot enter. The delivery guys were not able to enter any like Taobao or like Chinese Amazon kind of stuff. Nobody. You have to get out by yourself to the door, to the main gate, and then get everything. So they just started to let people in so people can deliver to your door. Everybody was so happy. Because it's sometimes so, like when you order, there's no meaning of ordering anymore because you still have to get out and go. When you need to walk all the way and then come back. And then they removed it for a while. For a week, we enjoyed seeing friends and ordering something, and then you don't have to go to the supermarket. And just brought everything back now. So again, it's like locked, no visitors around. And stuff like that. Not everywhere though. Our area here is the medium risk. They separate the city by high risk, medium risk, and low risk. And we are unfortunate to live in the area with some infections. So we're on the medium level. That's why here it's stricter than maybe some other parts of the city.
Okay, yeah, because Beijing might be massive, so it's probably that's why they've got different area. Like it's. So even despite the fact that you guys have a high risk or medium risk, you still able to go to the gym and the gym's still open?
Yeah, like honestly speaking, even at the beginning in February when everything was going crazy, we call it a lockdown, but it was not like a lockdown maybe in Italy when you cannot get out of the house. We could still move around, but at every building you're gonna enter, there's gonna be temperature check. Now the phone you have, there's an app on the phone that you show your health condition. So that's the only way you can get access to a building. So we could still move around, but there was a lot of places which was closed down, a lot of shops and stuff like that, but we could actually move around. And we still can move around, but people cannot come in. And there's a lot of business which is closed down, and they don't do any group events and those kinds of stuff. But people still can move around because people still go to work, right? And just those main entertainment business, which is not actually running, but almost everything is still running right now. You have to wear a mask. That is a must. And for us, we already got used to it. It's like we don't wear a mask now. We feel like, hey, there's something missing on our face. But yeah, that's it. As long as you have a mask and you avoid crowded places, yeah.
No, but the question was about the gyms are closed underground and the swimming pools. And the gyms in the high infection areas are closed. So. But where our location is like the central CBD, the business district, and it's clean around. So all the gyms that are not underground. As soon as you don't have a pool and you're not underground, you're allowed, but you also have to register. You have to measure the temperature. Mask or no mask is up to you, but it's also limited amount of people per class. It's also a lot of precautions, but not like usual. Usually we can allow like 27 people come in. No, now it's like 12 tops. Yeah, but underground gyms are suffering. I don't know. They just got open for a week and then closed down again. It feels so horrible. Businesses are just dying.
Look, I think so. To change it quite quickly. So they changed between like a week and everything shut down, and next week things start opening and then close again. So it changes that rapidly.
It's amazing the way they put. I guess the experience of this almost half a year having the thing, the way they test people, it's like I don't know how many millions people got tested. There's massive testing altogether. So they can see if there are people who went to that market, they all isolated. They have to do the quarantine, Now people from medium and high risk areas from Beijing cannot even travel. You cannot go anywhere. They will see where you live. So technologically wise, it's just another level. It's like they will see everything. The health code. If you're not green, you need to scan every single building you enter. They have your information. There are these massive temperature checks, like they scan your face. So they don't even have to click anymore at some place, like a lot of places, big places. They're just your face on the screen. You're walking by, there's a picture of your face, all big one, and the temperature on your forehead. So they let you in, and they could see if people coming back, you have to do the quarantine for 2 weeks. Chinese people can come back, foreigners cannot. And they can see there's another app that can show whether you've been in Beijing or not for the past 2 weeks. If you were out, they will not let you in, and they might call the authorities on you and say that you are not doing your quarantine and you are out at the time when you're supposed to be inside, So it's really nice. It's strict in a way sometimes that it's pissing you off, but it's good. It's good. The way they do it, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a whole new level. And how long you guys been in China for?
Since 2011. Well, Kate been a bit earlier.
Same time we arrived.
Well, you were in China before that for 1-2 times, right?
Oh yeah, I used to come here for when I was studying back home. I was getting my main degree back home, and I was coming here for like exchange program for 2 years every summer just to learn the language.
Yeah, but we settled here. We came here in 2011.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been 9 years.
Yeah,
almost.
September we came, right?
Yeah, August, September.
Yeah, late August. Yeah.
Kate, you say you were going to China for studying. Where are you originally from?
I'm from Russia, Asian part of Russia, close to China. So it's very popular to go and study. We have a lot of exchange programs between the universities. And my major has nothing to do with sports in the beginning. It's the international relations. So I have diplomatic background with the translation and stuff. Entrepreneur thing. Not entrepreneur. Why I'm saying entrepreneur? Interpreter. English. Translator. So when I was, that's why we had on the course, we had the exchange program. Chinese people were coming to our university and we were sent to, we were sent not to Beijing, to Tianjin, seated like half an hour away from Beijing, and just coming to study a language for like 1 or 2 months course. First time I came like 2009 on the summer, and then I just fell in love with China, and I decided that I'll be back here for a longer time.
So you said that you came to China to learn the language. Are you talking about the Chinese language or English or other languages?
Chinese. Yeah, those Chinese courses in Chinese university, just to level up my Chinese language.
Okay, so it's the same for the Chinese people that go to Russia to learn Russian.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So why there's an interest for Chinese people to go to learn Russia and vice versa from Russian to learn Chinese? Because like at the market, because you guys are so close to each other, or was?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, because it's close and a lot of people doing business like between countries, especially trading and all this selling things, very popular. So a lot of cargo and mainly business. I cannot explain why more. And a lot of Russians people, like a lot of Russians just coming here all the time. There's like Chinese flooded with Russians.
No, China is too big though. What I'm trying to say is also maybe one thing, I don't know if it's true, the relationship between Russia and China is really good. So yeah, it's easy for two countries to, to collaborate and do stuff, I think, right?
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, though, Russia is like a huge country. So it's a huge country, and China is another huge country. So actually, it makes sense that you learn both languages. It's not from an Italian learn French and vice versa. What's the point to go to France to learn French if you not decided to live there? I thought I was coming from that mentality, but when you put like in perspective, Russia and China, it makes totally sense. Yeah.
And also Russia, like when you talk about like China huge and Russia huge, because Russia fall into two continents, right? One is European, one is Asian. So people that are like from Moscow and this part that is closer to Europe, they don't really come often to China because it's too far. They travel to Europe more. In my part, we are like, especially my hometown, we're like maybe I don't want to lie, but maybe 8 hours, maybe a little bit more hours of driving. That's how close we are to the border, to the closest border. So it's not the whole Russia goes to China. It's mainly like Siberia and this part that is very close. Yeah, as people travel because it's really close and it's convenient and things are cheaper. Used to be.
And are you from like a city in Russia or like a small town?
Oh, it's a city. Don't ask me how many people we have because I don't know.
Was it like a fairly big city?
We have less than a million population. I don't know. I can anyway. It doesn't really matter. It's a city. It's not like a village, and it's not a small town. We don't have McDonald's, so that's the indication.
And how about you, Reggie? Where are you from?
I'm from Seychelles, a small island in the Indian Ocean on the east coast of Africa. I grew up in a different environment, not in a huge country like Russia or China. I came from a really small place.
Seychelles is like a group of islands.
Yeah, it's a group of islands. Yeah.
And how was for you growing up in a small island? Like,
well, Seychelles, there is 115 islands, like about Seychelles, right? Our sea is really huge. And growing up in Seychelles was a really good experience in terms of the life is really slow. Like we just live like there's no, after coming to Beijing, I know what is pressure, life pressure, right? People moving around non-stop, everybody's busy doing their stuff, but us there enough, right? It's like everybody's on the layback, and the more you switch to small island, the slower it gets, right? I have my grandparents, they are from the fourth biggest island. They mostly travel by bicycle there, right? Bicycle is the most transportation. That make the life way much more like slower. Like you just labor. If you go to work, you have something to do. You just tell your boss, "Hey, I have something to do. I'll be back in 2 hours." You just leave, go do your thing, and come back. That's how slow it is. Yeah, that's one thing that always comes in my mind. After coming to Beijing, I realized that you live a slow life.
I mean, I think we go to extremes, like a small island and Beijing, the capital of China. So I think we get like two big extremes. But I think there's something about being on an island that I think affect your time. Even in Canada, at least here in Vancouver, there's like a Vancouver Island, which is not far from Vancouver. It's only an hour and a half by ferry. But even then, this is like the island, Vancouver Island is on its own time, like island time. That means everything is slower. People drive slower. And everything just goes slowly. And it's not far. It's a big city. The capital of British Columbia is actually on the island, Victoria. But everything moves slowly over there. I think there must be something related to be on an island.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I've met a few islanders also here in China. They say the same thing. It's just a laid back life on the island. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And
if you look at the picture of the Seychelles, it's just stunning. It's just literally a
yeah,
paradise in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
that's the thing. Even me, I grew up there. I didn't really realize it, right? If I tell you I can barely swim, you will not believe me. But most of the population cannot swim. We take it for granted, you know what I mean? Like beaches all over the place. We're like, ah, no. I remember as a teenager, I rarely go to the beach. I was really attracted to sport. That's where I spend my time. I will rarely go to the beach. Why should I? Like, I on my balcony, I can see the water, the ocean, and stuff like, you know. But after coming here, now everything changed. When you go back, that's why you really appreciate everything. You're like, damn, really, Seychelles is beautiful, you know. And so, yeah.
Liar.
What do
He's
you
like every every time we go to Seychelles, I need to go to the beach at least every day, once a day, you know? And he will complain like, oh my God, we need to go again. If you let him, he will stay home the whole day. Maybe he missed the beauty of the Seychelles, but he doesn't. He still doesn't go to the beach. You drag him out of the house, and he will be still sitting there in the bushes, so nobody can see him.
I, I said that I appreciate it more. I didn't say I go more often to the beach.
The way you put the sentence, just to make sure.
No, but kids want to go to the beach every single day. Like, come on, like you know. Well, yeah.
Do you miss the ocean, or do you miss to see the ocean, or no?
Not really, but I don't miss it. I don't know why, but when I'm there, I'm like, oh my god, I wish I was there more time. You know, like just for example, there was here also in China. It's a huge downside. There's a really wonderful island we went once, and going there, it was like kind of Seychelles because it's an island and kind of look like typical stuff. We're like, whoo, that's a relief. Like you don't miss it until you get out of the city. But the city life is fast paced. But every time you get something like which is like laid back, relaxing, you're like,
That's pretty nice. And why did you leave the Seychelles?
oh, I just wanted to see the world actually. It reached a point in my life that I was really into basketball. I really wanted to become a professional basketball. But there's something that I did at that time I didn't realize. I was like, okay, I'm almost done with my studies. And then I'm going to university if I want to. We don't really. It's just now that we have a university back in Seychelles. Anyway, but what I was saying, what I did was like I put in my head, I will either go play basketball professionally or I will go study. But I will leave the country, right? I don't know why it was pushing me, but I will leave, right? And it was on my mind all the time. I was like, if both of them come up at the same time, what will happen? That's what happened. After I was playing for my national team, there was a foreign coach that came, and then he was like, then we talked to him like, is there any opportunity to go to France to play basketball professionally? He said, well, I can go back and check for you. You need to wait for a while, then we go back and it came at the same time. And at the same time, just before that, I applied to get a scholarship and I got it. So the day that this thing happened, I could not sleep at night because I had a scholarship. Cannot wait. They say, Reggie, you need to give me a decision. If you are not going to China, we'll give this spot to someone else. And then there's the coach on the other side telling me, give me some time. I need to go back to France to help you out. See. So yeah, at the end of the day, he kind of made the decision for me. He told me like China is developing people that can speak the language will maybe have a massive advantage over a lot of people. So I suggest that you go to China. Even if you know it was not the thing that I wanted to hear, I chose my studies over sport, which I was regretting at the beginning, but then when I met my wife, everything.
How did you guys met?
We really met early when we just came in 2011. Actually, doing what young people do. We were partying all night, having fun, enjoying life. You know, a country which is China where like most of the people don't really speak the language, so they don't care. So you just like you're living in a country which majority of the people doesn't care about it. You just live. No, nobody will pinpoint fingers with you, but they are busy with their own lives. So that's the advantage here in China. You know, so yeah, that's why we met in a club. we're having fun. Yeah.
The thing is that we were studying in a different cities. We were not in one city. He was in the city where I used to go to learn my language during my education back home, the one that I mentioned before. And I was on the northeast of China getting my master's. And I was coming to his city just to see friends because I used to have a lot of people that I know there. And so me and my friends were just coming there to basically party. Okay, we just go there for a couple of days. So the way we met, it was like just weird because we met in the club and then I left. Then in the morning we met one more time when I went to see his at his university. I went to meet him because he couldn't speak anything because his Chinese was zero, nothing.
So I guess you guys were communicating in English, right?
Yeah.
And how hard was it to get used to the Chinese culture and the language? Because it's such a different. I mean, at least from like a Western country, it's like such a shock, cultural shock to.
I think it's a question for Reggie.
Oh,
For him, it was too cultural.
it's like you cannot imagine, like, as from an island again, like what you see on the TV, that's what you picture yourself in China, right? So you left the country, you're heading to China. The funny thing, you reach the airport, those people that are supposed to pick you up didn't show up that day. Nobody speaks the language. Like everybody that visits China at least once, they can tell you the language barrier is the biggest challenge ever. Okay, we find a way to get out of the airport, reach the train station. We landed in Beijing, so I need to go to the other city. Same thing. Like, okay, there was a few people helping, but then when we reached the point to take a taxi to go to the university, right? So the only thing I can do is to show my paper to the taxi driver. Okay, good. Fine. We drove, reached the university inside now. We need to find that one building. Oh my God, we were driving around and around and around. The taxi driver ended up calling kind of a friend that can speak a little bit of English. And it took us, when the gate and the building at the end of the day was just like 100 meters away, but just because you don't know, you cannot speak the language. And at the beginning to order food, we just went to McDonald's or KFC, right? That's the only thing we knew, or pizza, that's it, right? And sign language was like chicken, blah, 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 like this. And like, it was just crazy. Now learning how to eat with a chopstick was another story. So it was a great experience, but it was really a challenging experience, honestly.
Yeah, it must be, because even like a reading, it's not that you can, maybe you don't speak from English, you don't speak German, but you can kind of like make sense of some words. It's got the same letters, at least. You could somehow figure things out. At least in the airport, you know how to move around. But if you go to China or Japan, if there's no the translation in English of another language, you have no idea how to move around. I've never been to China, I've been to Japan, which is probably very similar. I couldn't do anything without somebody to help me.
Exactly. Imagine in 2011, just now those apps were starting to get developed. So at that time, you really didn't have really anything to compare to try to show somebody, right? So it was it's a great experience at the end of the day. When you sit down and look, you were laughing at yourself, the stuff that you were doing and things like that, just to try to get a living, to survive. But yeah.
How long did it take you to learn the language?
Well, that's the thing. The course that I did, most of the people that comes and study Chinese, like that have me to study their major in Chinese, because I studied my major in Chinese language. So you have a 1 year to pass a certain level of Chinese language, and they pack everything in 1 year. Like here in China, the education system is like go and keep going. There's no rest, right? So they were stacking a lot of stuff. Like me, my idea of going to a university, you say you can have a free time. No homework and stuff like that. Not here. Because as soon as you say you have a whole bunch of homework that you need to hand in the next day, and it was ongoing. So the course, it says it's a year, but it's like but with all the vacation in between, it's like 9 months. So at the end of 9 months, you need to pass that exam so you can go and do your degree. So it took almost like 6-7 months to actually slowly having a conversation, right, and be able to write, which is awesome. And at the beginning, it's really hard. I think with all the language also it's the same. It's like you learning, you're pushing, and you just end up hitting a wall. There's days that I was like, why did I came here? Trying to pass exam, could not fail. Like, what the hell? What should I do now? You know? But then I guess again with all the language, there's just a day that comes, just everything just open up. Like you just feel like you're starting getting fluent or you're starting getting all the answers. And I think it relates to everything in life. If you're learning a new skill, you keep doing it, you don't see any results until that day that everything. Faster kids, like younger, like kids that is really bright and they could learn it even a little bit faster. But
Reggie
me,
is
I
not
struggle.
bright.
I struggle. But yeah, I'm here now, so I can speak and yeah, I can.
Interesting thing about language, by the way, I learned Chinese for 5 years back home. So I was getting my when I was getting my degree, English and Chinese for like there's languages that it's a must to learn. But since my degree was international relations, we were learning a lot of economy, politics, different relations between different countries in Chinese and in English. When I came to China, I was like, yeah, and I graduated with honors. I was like, I know Chinese. I'm just like, we came at first to do the what's that? The law. I wanted to study more of my own area. I don't know. So we decided not to take the course that Reggie was talking about. We decided not to take the language course. Me and my friends were like, okay, we're just gonna go in this, the law system and just start learning right away. So we end up being with Chinese people in the class, and it's a master degree for them. So it's pretty tough, and all this Marxism and Leninism and all this Chinese system, it was hardcore. So for the first maybe couple weeks, we didn't understand anything. It was just like, what are those waves on the board? Because with all the Chinese people around you, you're sitting there and feeling so stupid, like useless. You know what I mean? You cannot talk. I've been studying, and I could give you a topic about Chinese-Russian relationship in perfect Chinese. You ask me how to say fork or spoon or table, how to go and order food in the restaurant. I couldn't do that. I couldn't speak normal language. Like I could speak not normal, formal one. So what Reggie is saying is like for him, 7 months of intense training, but he could survive in China. It took me a minimum a year for me to finally get used to. So I transfer myself to linguistics. I transfer myself from the law thing because the teacher just proposed to our main, the head, whatever teacher or the principal of the university, if that's how you call it in English, that we need to go away from there. So we transferred to somewhere where it was more foreigners. So yeah, and then it was linguistics, so it was the language itself. We were learning how to, all the basics of Chinese. That was pretty interesting, but not what I wanted, but I just end up doing that. And to be honest, when I came, I was not even planning. It was so hardcore to study back home with all the final exam. It was a lot of stress. It was really hard. It was like 5 years of hardcore learning and studying. There was no breaks, nothing. We just had to do so many things. And so I just decided to, you know what, since it's for free, because the education was given for free. It was, again, this an exchange program. I was like, yeah, why not? I love China. I decided that I'm going to go there like 2 years before I graduated from high school. I was like, I'm just going to go there mainly for rest. So I was not really putting a lot of work in this. I was still doing things, and my Chinese like upscaled so bad, like so good. I mean, so bad, so much within the first year. But then it just was because I like to talk to people, not even in the class. I talk to all the grandmas around the area next to me. They all know me. So yeah, that's the point. Like it's not bright, not bright. You just have to. It depends how much effort you put and which circumstances you are in. Mm-hmm. You still, coming up to China with the zero language. I don't know how people do that. It's like at least thank God I knew something. It's not like I couldn't speak at all. At least something you feel comfortable, because you at least you've been learning these things for like 5 years. At least you know the history of China. You know this, you know that. Yeah, but I don't know how people do that with a zero. It might be really tough. And there are people who live here for 5 years. They don't study the language. They're fine. They're like, oh, we have these translators with this, different dictionaries. We just use English to explain, and that's it. They don't even eager. They don't want to study the language.
Yeah.
So Reggie, you didn't speak any Chinese when you moved to China, right?
Yeah, no idea. Not even ni hao. Like no idea. Like I didn't even check before. I have no idea. Not a single word. Nothing at all.
How old were you when you moved to China?
So I was 21 in 2011. Yeah, 21 years old, and mostly all my classmates was younger than me. They were 18, 19. Again, because before I came to China, I worked for 2 years before I applied for that scholarship and stuff. So I was a bit the oldest. Then when you're singing the youngest, like they're just killing the class and just, you feel like, oh my God. Yeah. But yeah.
And still 21, you're still pretty young probably to learn a language, or I don't know, because for me, like when I moved to New Zealand, even then my English level was like very, very low. But it took me probably a good 6 months before I could understand a conversation. I couldn't pick some words and understand something, but to actually understand a conversation probably took me 6 months. So if it took you like a 9 months to learn like a Chinese and be able to speak in Chinese, have a conversation in Chinese, that's impressive. It would take me like 3 years.
Yeah. Because we have, like Kate was saying, we have a lot of a few people especially from the diplomats from the embassies and here and there. They don't really interested in learning. And the advantage now also there's different apps on your phone that you can walk around and translate and get your way around, right?
You can, and then you scan Chinese characters, and they're gonna show you English translation on your screen. It's like super convenient.
See, if they were there like 10 years ago, it would have been different. They would have forced themselves to learn. Because even Chinese also is trying to promote to make the student learn English, So, yeah.
So when you moved to China, were you planning to stay to China, or you were just there to studying and then just finish and move somewhere else?
Well, at the beginning, it was just you go do your 5 years because everything here is 1 year more. Like a bachelor degree is 5 years, right? And yeah, that's the plan. Go study and just go back home at the beginning. And then I met Kate. There we starting getting more mature, starting finding, there's opportunities here. Like we can actually do things here. Why would I go back to Seychelles where the life is slow? So that's when we decide, let's find a way to stay. So after I finished my bachelor, I applied. I went to do my master's. So that gave me another 3 years. So that make it 8. And for the past 1 year, I've been working. So that make it almost 9 now.
Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I hope you enjoyed the part 1 of my conversation with Kate and Reggie. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast so you don't miss the part 2 next week. And if you like this episode and want to support the show, you can leave us a review. It only takes 2 minutes and will help others find the show. And if you want to share your story, you can send me an email at stories@emigrantlife.com or visit the website emigrantlife.com. Thanks again for listening. Talk to you in the next one. Ciao.